Hey guys, you're watching Gordon Petty Fishing. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm Gordon. Today we're going to be installing Livescope. I've been putting this off way too long. I've actually been waiting for another product to come out on the market. They actually released some videos a few weeks ago. I'm not very impressed with it, so I decided to go ahead and go with the Livescope. The Livescope is a proven product. Just about all of my buddies have it. Today I'm going to be showing you the install of this Livescope in my boat and how I go about it. I'm going to show you my battery setup. Inside this box right here is the battery that I'm going to be using. I've done a lot of research on it and I feel like this is going to be the best way to serve my purposes. I'm not saying it's the best way, but I'm just saying it's going to work what I think is going to work for me. Stay tuned. I'm not going to bore you with an unboxing of every little item, but I'm just going to give you a rundown of what I've got right here. I purchased the EchoMap Ultra 102 SV. It has a 10-inch touch screen. I'm going to be mounting it on a plate here that'll have my hummingbird up in the front, and I'm planning on putting the Livescope in the back on top of this. This is going to be my perspective mount. It's made by Summit. What I like about this mount is the ability to adjust the angle right here with it. We're going to see how it works. I may or may not like it, but we'll see. Of course, this is where the magic comes from right here. This is the Livescope transducer. This is the black box. I'm going to be installing it in my starboard side rod locker. And as I told you earlier, in this box right here is a 30 amp hour lithium battery. As you can see here, it's made by Amped Outdoors. I'm not sponsored by them in no way. I made the purchase online myself with this. This box right here I got from Ice Hole Power. There again, I'm not sponsored by them. This is the charger that comes with the battery. It is specially made for lithium batteries. And inside this box right here, I'm going to put this box together. This is all of my electrical wires and all the switches. That's some fuses. And there's my power wires. But I'm going to put this box together. It's probably going to be a little bit of overkill for my application, but I'll be able to use this box for several other things. I'm not going to bore you with putting this box together and showing it to you. You can go online and there's several videos of that. This company actually has videos of showing you how to put this box together. But this is going to keep the battery nice and stable inside my boat. I'm going to fix it where this right here won't move around. And there's actually going to be, let's see if I can find it, in this port right here, this hole, there will be a port, which is that right there, that I can actually leave the battery in the box and hook my charging port into this right here, and I never have to take it out if I don't want to. But I'm about to begin the installation and show you step by step of what I do. Alright guys, I'm going to give you an idea of what I am planning on doing. I am planning on putting my black box inside the starboard rod locker here, as I said earlier. I actually got lucky because this panel, I don't know if you can see that, but this panel right here actually screws out, and it's wood, I believe, and I'll be able to lay the black box right up against that and not have to worry about drilling holes in my storage compartments up here where all my tackle is. But I'm going to run the power wire and the black box wire through right there. It looks to be about 5 or 6 feet, and then I'm going to do a double stack up at the front there. That's where I'll add the plate, and I'm planning on having the Garmin up top, and the Humminbird I'm going to leave it where it's at. Alright, I'm going to start up front here. I'm going to take all of this stuff off. I'm going to go ahead and mount my plate and get my graphs set up like I want to, and the reason I'm going to do that first is so that I'll know how much wire I'm going to have to work with that I'm going to run back to my black box and to my power box. Alright, I've got my units mounted up here on the front. I've stacked them. I put them on this mount here, and it's pretty sturdy. I may eventually end up raising this up a little bit. I'm going to leave a little extra room with my wires just to accommodate that if I decide to. I may just raise it up just a few inches. But I'm going to hook up my power wires and all the wires that go into this unit here and run them back to the rod locker, and make sure that we've got enough cord, and that'll determine exactly where I'm going to mount my black box and my battery power box. Alright guys, I'm going to connect this network cable, which is a short, it's about 1 foot long. I'm going to connect it to the back of the whatever Garmin unit you have. It's pretty obvious to the one that it goes in. There's actually 2 of these, and I'm assuming it doesn't matter which one that I connect it to. I've already connected the power wire and ran it through. It's about, I'm guessing, 5 foot long roughly, and I've ran it down. And this cable right here will connect into a longer network adapter cable. And I'm going to connect these 2 together with this right here, and then I'm going to run it to the rod locker as well. And it looks like I may have to add an extension onto the power line. If I have to do that, I'll add 10 gauge wire for whatever length that I need to do that. Alright guys, I've ran my power wire and my network adapter cable, and it looks like this is where I'm going to have my box. I'm going to have it, my power box that's got the battery in it, and then I'm going to take this panel out, and that's how I'm going to have my black box. I think that's going to end up pretty good. I am going to have to add probably another foot, maybe a little bit more of 10 gauge wire to my power wire that'll go directly to this box. And then I'll have one more, I'll have the transducer wire to run through, and I'll run that through later, finish that up. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put this power box completely together, so the next time you see it, it will be completely done. And I'll show you how that's going to work out, we hope. Alright guys, I've got the Livescope transducer connected to my trolling motor. I'm going to show you the process that I did to mount that. I used a Summit mount here. Like I said earlier, I'll leave a link in the description. And what this allows me to do is I can go to perspective mode like that. And when you mount your transducer, if you use the perspective mode, you want to leave enough loop in your line right here to allow you to be able to adjust this back and forth. And I've just ran the line all the way up the trolling motor shaft. You want to use electrical tape. Do not use zip ties. These are very fragile wires right here. But I used electrical tape and wrapped it, and then I've got Velcro tape on top of it in a couple of places just for extra reinforcement. You also want to leave extra loop up here where it goes around the trolling motor head. That will allow your trolling motor to turn and give this enough slack that it won't be pulling on it. And of course I went all the way down the trolling motor wire and then into my bowl right here, which goes back to the rod locker. And as you'll see, I've got my black box connected to the wall there, and then that's my wires. They're coming down. I have not hooked it up to the Powerbox yet. That's going to be the final step. I wanted to show you what it looks like with the trolling motor down. I have got mine mounted on the port side. And I may change that to the other side. I'm just going to see which side works best for me. With some fine tuning, I'll be able to figure that out, hopefully. Alright guys, it's the next morning. I got the box put together. This is my power box where the battery is going to be. I'm going to have it in my rod locker alongside. As you can see, the battery is inside right here. As I showed you yesterday, this thing comes in a kit. I'll leave a link in the description. There's videos by this company on YouTube that takes you through it step by step on how to put this together. I'm going to show you all the features that this has. We have a master power switch right here. When I turn that on, it turns everything on. And as you can see right here, it's got a voltmeter on it that I can show that all the time if I want to, or I can turn it off. It's also got a USB port for charging phones, batteries, other things. It's also got a regular cigarette lighter. If I turn this one on right here, it's actually got lights on it. I can take this out and use it for other things if I want to other than this. It's got banana clips on here that you can put other accessories on. And this right here is what I like about it. It's got an extra port right here, and that's where I'm going to power up my black box and my 102 up front. I'm going to have everything in regards to Livescope on its own separate power. That way there'll be no other things interfering with it, and the Livescope won't be draining down my regular battery throughout the day. Give you an idea why I decided to go this route by having a separate battery for the Livescope. I do have a separate power harness in the boat wired up to my cranking battery that goes directly to each unit. But I decided, I've heard so many stories of people after 4, 5, 6 hours of fishing and using their Livescope, the Livescope drawing so much power that it depletes the battery and it says low voltage, and then the Livescope doesn't work like you want it to. So I wanted to eliminate that problem. My battery is, I do have a Group 31 AGM battery, but I know it's probably getting toward the end of its life cycle. I've had it a little over 4 years, and usually I can get 4 to 5 years out of a cranking battery. And I have a feeling that when I hook this Livescope up to it, it's going to drain it even quicker. I haven't had any problems with it so far, but I'm going to feel a whole lot more comfortable just having my separate power source for the Livescope. Let's look in the rod box and I'll show you how I'm going to hook it up. Alright guys, I've got all of my power wires and the transducer hooked to my black box. If you can tell there, I've got the black box bolted into this panel that came out, and it's good and secure. I wanted to mount it like this so I could at least see the status light on it. All you guys that have this know that if the status light is green, everything is good. But here's how I have powered it up. I've put my power wire for the black box and the power wire for the Garmin. I've spliced them together into this cord right here, and that's what's nice about this box right here. All I'm going to do is plug it in. And I'm going to pull it up here where you can see exactly what's going on. You can see that right there. I've just made it to where I can actually plug it in right there, and I can also use that port to charge the battery. So when I get in the afternoons or after a trip, which is part of my routine, I always plug all of my battery chargers up. I'll do this the same way. I'll unplug that and plug the lithium battery charger that came with this. And I can use the master switch if I want to, but I've got this bypassed so that when I flip this switch right here, if you'll notice the status light, well, it blinked red and then it went off, but that shows that there's power. I could use the master power switch right here at any time and I can see my voltage. But now I'm going to go up here and turn my unit on. And it'll take a few seconds. If you'll watch, the status light will go green. It's red. And then it'll go green when it's connected. There we go. It's green. And I'm going to wait for this. I'm going to hit agree. I hadn't taken anything off of it yet. I'm going to go to Panoptics. And as you can see there, I'm getting 13.4 volts. And I'm hoping that that stays pretty constant throughout the day, and I don't have to worry about it pulling down the power from my cranking battery. I'm going to turn the master switch on, and it shows my voltage there, 13.2. I could have used these banana clips for the power, but I didn't like the idea of the exposed ends of the wires possibly getting corrosion, which is why I hooked it up the other way. But I'm going to secure this box with a bungee cord or a bungee strap or something, and the battery is actually, the battery inside is actually velcroed in to keep it from bouncing around in rough water and waves. Here is a final look at what my stacked units look like up front after the install. I've got all the wires back together. I had to make me a plate to go right here to cover up where I had an old graph that I didn't use anymore. I thought that turned out really well. I found some extra conduit piping, or whatever you want to call these plastic pipes here, to kind of help protect my transducer wires for when this is raising and lowering, so it won't rub up against the plate right here, just for a little bit extra protection. I thought that turned out pretty neat. I'll give you a look of the front view as if I was standing on the deck. That's the view from the front deck. I can't stand all the way up because of the ceiling in my garage, but I should have plenty of room for my trolling motor to raise up and down. I've raised it up and down as far as I can a couple of times. And then this is my what the rod locker looks like after I've got everything. I went back and put a bungee strap in so that it'll hold it in place, but I can still move it if I want to. Well guys, that's it. That's my Garmin Livescope setup along with battery. I'd say total time it probably took me 2 to 3 hours to do everything. It actually took me longer than that, but I took several breaks during the day, and I ended up having to go into town and get a few things that I didn't have that I needed a couple of times. So it's actually not a hard process to do it the way that I did it. Again, I'm not saying this is the best way, but it's the way that I figured that would work for me. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hey, if you hadn't hit the subscribe button, reach over there and hit that subscribe button for me. I sure would appreciate it. I hope to have a follow-up video, possibly, of maybe the first time out, getting it set up on the water, and get some actual screenshots and maybe even catch some fish. But until then, hope to see you guys on the water, and we'll do it again next time. See ya.